Hi, I'm so happy that you found my channel. This topic is super important and definitely necessary for these times. And if you're new to my channel and you're just surfing around trying to find information on MGTOW, the movement of men who go their own way, and Neo Feminism and how it plays into the Great Awakening. So right now we are experiencing a time of awakening. There's a lot of truth that's coming out all across different social media platforms. There are a lot of battling between men and women, the battling of the sexes, and this has all been deliberate and engineered for many decades. And so I'm going to kind of break this down as quickly and as succinctly as I possibly can. We are at battle. And before I even go into this, let me just quickly talk about who I am so that you know where this is all coming from. I am a life coach. I specialize in helping, how can I say, high value, if lack for a better way of explaining it, people who are successful, they're driven, they're motivated, they're ambitious, they're clear on their goals, they are goal achievers, men and women. They do very well professionally, but for the life of them, they cannot understand why they are so struggling and challenged when it comes to dating and relationships. So I help them. And so one of the things that has been a hot topic that I have jumped into and really done a ton of research about is this awakening that we are all coming to as humanity. We're all up leveling on the planet. This means our consciousness is elevating. This comes with a lot of discomfort because it forces us to look inward and to look at ourselves and find truth within. So if there are wounds that you have not healed, if there are past beliefs that are holding you stuck, if you have been misinformed or manipulated or programmed, which is what we're going to get into in this little talk that I'm going to give, this is the time to clean all that up so that you can ascend to the next level that you are meant to go to while living on this planet. So let's dive into the men going their own way movement, and it's MGTOW. I was first turned on to this expression when I did a video, one of my first YouTube videos way back in 2014. And it was kind of like satire. It was just like, I lived in South Beach, Miami at the time. There were all these gold digger girls, all these entitled girls running around, getting dinners and yacht parties and all this like superficial, look at me kind of existence. So I did this video in joking about this thing called the hot crazy matrix, which this guy did, which was brilliant, around the same time. And you can find this. It's like the hot crazy matrix. And then I did the female version of it, but just to like poke fun, you know, it wasn't meant to be like this big thing that blew up, and it kind of did blow up over the years. And that was where I had all of these people, men, writing MGTOW, MGTOW, and like red pill and all these coded like things. I'm like, what are these people? And then they were coming at me. They were like insulting me. They're calling me like a Tiffany, all these things that I then did my research and came to learn what that actually meant. And so MGTOW, MGTOW, it stands for Men Going Their Own Way. It is a movement where they have chat boards and different websites and different videos and just like its own little community. But it's rooted in what appears to be, at least based on what I've seen, is this collective hatred of women who have super high standards, a sense of entitlement, and that they are blatantly disrespectful to men, and that they are looking to use men and then they discard them, and the legal system is set up in a way that makes men like lose all their money, and that women in their view are just these money hungry soul suckers that will take your sperm and your money, leave you, and go be with another guy to do the same thing again. So they have this like, you know, perception of women, and we're going to put them on this side of the spectrum, right? These are wounded men. They're not even really like men. They're very wounded. They lack self-actualization, self-awareness. So they're on this full-on end we don't want to get married, we don't want to be with women, we just want to watch porn and play video games and make a bunch of money. And some of them do and some of them don't. A lot of the ones I've seen are broke ass. They just run from responsibility. The other ones who are doing well for themselves, they just want to spend it all on hookers and like strippers and travel the world and be that. They don't have the emotional maturity. They have not stepped into their divine masculine so that they can be a leader and a provider and a, king to their own family, basically. So that's the MGTOW. That's what that is. And they form their little group and they, prefer to just not get involved with women at all. A lot of them are asexual. They have conditioned themselves not even to want sex. And when they do have sex, it's completely emotionally detached and devoid. And they do have an underlying hatred for women. But here's where I can have compassion for them. And here's where I kind of like dig what their vibe is about. They're just unclear. They're not clear, right? They hate the system. And I'm all about that because I hate it too. See? And what do I mean by that? The legal system. The system that makes it hard for men to protect their assets. And even with like legal, what's it called? Prenup, that kind of thing. There are loopholes and ways around it where women literally take men to the cleaners when it comes to, divorce. And so that's their big gripe. It's like, why be with a woman when I work my ass off all these years and then the legal system is such that they have these laws in place that I can't even see my kids, awful things happen and all that. Okay, so they have beef, rightfully so. That on that regard, I definitely agree with them. So they're over there on that, end of the spectrum. Oh my God, we hate women. Women are the enemy. Okay, so on the other side of the spectrum, we have neo-feminists. Okay, not like old school feminists where we just wanted to vote and have say in, and how, we make decisions for our country and what have you. But we were duped, right? So now there's this new breed of neo-feminists and they are all about hating men. They're all about, crush the patriarchy and they see oppression in everything. It's like a mental illness at this point. But what they have in common with the MGTOW is that they're at the base of their beingness. They are also wounded too. So both of them are on the side of the spectrum. Wounded. We got the massively conditioned, wounded feminism, feminine woman, wounded feminine woman. And she is conditioned by society to be afraid of men. She fears them. She thinks they're going to rape and, leave her in a ditch for dead. And she's highly wounded and highly conflicted because her inner yearning as a woman is to be a mother. It is to bring life onto the planet. So let me explain, fascinating in my research that I discovered this, is the problem between men and women and dating right now is that you have this whole middle and these two ends of the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine. But then in the middle, you have semi-wounded and semi-wounded, and nobody is doing what they need to do to better themselves so that they can handle their woundedness, which is usually rooted in childhood. And again, we've all been programmed. I was programmed too. I was born in 1971 and I came up in my childhood into teenage, into college from the 70s into the 90s, and then early 2000s was when I had my married life, right? So I was programmed also to believe that you go to school, you graduate high school, you go to college, and then you work. And then you work and work and work some more. And you work your way up this ladder of whatever until you realize I should become a mom. I should get married and have babies. And so by the time I got married, I was 27 years old. I had an executive position in public relations. I was doing really well. I bought my house with my husband at the time. We were 50-50 on everything. We met in college when neither of us had a dime, just student loans, and we paid everything off and bought a house and started to live along this happy life. And then I turned 30, and the programming in me was, well, how am I going to have a baby? Like, how does this work? We have all this money, we have this house, and our house isn't big enough for babies too. We're gonna have to like sell this and get a bigger house, and like, how can we afford that? So these are all these questions, right? But I was programmed to want stuff, programmed to want house, car, vacations, all of these things, shopping, no credit card debt, like just dual income, no kids, live life, right? And I decided at 32 years old around that I was going to be child free. And I went to my husband at the time and I said, I gave it a lot of thought, and since you can take it or leave it on the whole kids thing, I'm gonna decide no kids. Let's just live well, do our thing. Like, society has this checklist of what you're supposed to do in life, and I'm opting out. Like, I'm done. I'm tired of living my life for how society says I should live it. But what happened was the programming of go aspire to have things took me away from my natural aspiration as a woman to be a mother. And that is the thing that I want to talk about today. This has been a coordinated effort by the evil overlord elites, if you want to call them that. I think there are like words that I can use that I don't want to use. These people have been turning we the people, humanity, against one another in every way possible for decades, specifically to promote what is called eugenics. It's all rooted in the same place to serve the same evil entity. They want to obliterate humanity. And everything that we're seeing happening in our world today traces all the way back to this collective evil desire for the planet, which is to eradicate, remove, whatever word you want to use, humanity, so that there are only a few people at the top, people below them that they then control as slaves. And so the system that we are now participating in is a slave system. There was a time, probably 70 years ago, where women were at home raising babies, instilling the values that that husband and wife family had on those children, that they shared the family values and they instilled those values into the children. That eventually had to go bye-bye. See, they needed more people as slaves working to pay taxes so that we could fund wars and we can fund pharmaceutical companies and military industrial complex and all these things that use our money to further enslave us, right? So this is all a plan you can look into, and I encourage you to look up eugenics, right? Look up the Rockefellers, look up your history. You have to learn your history. As I dove deep into this whole thing, it was like a rabbit hole. It was amazing. And I started to find other teachers, other people talking about this sort of stuff. It really inspired me as a coach to talk about it, because I get people who are constantly saying to me, they can't meet good men, they can't meet good women. And this is why we all have been programmed to be against each other instead of unified together against the establishment. And that's what I think is happening now. I think more and more people are awakening, and more people are figuring like that they have depression, anxiety, they have all these mental disorders, bipolar, all this stuff that we didn't hear about 20, 30 years ago, right? But it's coming out now, and people are asking why. Why is it? Why is it that they can't be in healthy relationships? Why is it that a man 27 years old doesn't even have sexual urges? It's as if it was programmed out of him, and that they would prefer to just be forever adolescents, sitting their asses on the couch playing video games, making no money whatsoever, and just being forever children. And then on the other side, you have these neo-feminists who are angry. They are not balanced in their brain and in their energy. They are self-mutilating. They are constantly in a fight or flight energy, which bangs out their entire adrenals. It messes with their hormones. We see more infertility. Plus, don't even get me started on the chemicals that they've been putting in our foods for decades also. That's been really taking a toll on people's sex drive, their ability to be fertile. We have a lot of people now who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're having issues trying to have babies. This is all by design. I encourage you all to look into this. And the way out of it is where people like me come in, right? It's having the inspiration and the curiosity to dive deeper into looking at history. What really was behind the feminist movement? Eugenics. It was created and funded by the Rockefellers. Go back into your history. There's tons of stuff out there. I've been looking on TikTok. I've been looking, oh my God, online. I've been finding so many pieces of amazing information that you weren't taught in school. Why would you be? The Rockefellers funded the public education system. You're going to start to see how all of these elements of our entire society are all linked together for a common end game, and that is the total control of humanity, limited population. Okay, their goal, okay, and they wrote this out on the Georgia Guidestones that were taken down after being struck by lightning. And some people argue that it wasn't struck by lightning, they were destroyed, whatever. On those stones, it said they wanted to take humanity down to 500 million. Okay, we have a planet of 10 billion people. They want to take it down, reduce population to 500 million worldwide to be in accordance with natural climate and whatever, however way they word it. You can look that up, Georgia Guidestones. It's total evil. People like Bill Gates talk about it. When you see how all of these different pieces fit together, you can plainly see and make the connection to why are women and men being programmed to be at odds with one another. If you have men who adore women, protect women, provide for women, are leaders of their families, they take pride in that leadership of, wow, like daddy's home. Like there was a time where the men went and worked and the women maintained a harmonious home. Like there's this expression that I saw on a meme, and it said, the man provides the house and the woman makes it a home. Or if you want to say the husband and the wife, because gender roles and people in homosexual relationships and whatever, the people take different roles. Point is, there needs to be clarity on what roles are what. And right now we're in this time of confusion, and it's disruptive and it's dysfunctional to a society. So doesn't matter, marry who you want, love whoever you want, that's fine. But know that there are specific roles that are we're inspired to level up to meet these roles, and they're very important. A man cannot be a woman cannot be a man. We're just not wired that way. And there's been so much confusion intentionally to put heterosexual people against gay people and women against men and Black people against white people. It's all rooted in the same thing, division to conquer. So study up on societal warfare, cultural Marxism, whatever you want to call it. It exists. They're trying to discredit it because people are awakening to it. So this is our time to awaken, okay? So when you hear these people talking about crush the patriarchy, you know that they are wounded. They are stuck in their woundedness. They've been programmed to hate the opposition, who are men, boys. Boys, because they haven't evolved, right? So these are little girls and they're all wounded and they're calling themselves, feminists, but they're not. They're wounded little girls who have yet to look inward, to explore and look at their shadow, right? What happened to them as a kid? Did you not get enough love as a child from your dad? Do you have daddy issues? Do you have a narcissistic mother? Like, what happened to you as a child? And both of these extremes, they need to look at this. We all need to look at this. What did we not get as children that we are now looking outside of ourselves to get from society, to get from a government? Will you parent me the way I wish that my mom and dad parented me? Will you save me, please, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, Okay, this is dysfunction. This is dysfunction. You are sovereign. You are autonomous. And when we give that sovereignty up, we are easily manipulated and controlled. So there's this guy on YouTube. I encourage you to check out his channel. His name is Mark Passio. Mark, M-A-R-K, Passio, P-A-S-S-I-O. That's P-A-S-S-I-O. And he does this phenomenal presentation. All his presentations are amazing, but he does this one specific one about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And it's all about how these movements, the men going their own way movement and this neo-feminist movement, are actually playing into the hands of the evil overlords who want to manipulate and oppress humanity. What better way to prevent people from having babies than to pit them against each other? I'm not going to marry you, you're a patriarchal piece of shit, and I'm not going to marry you, you're a bitch, and da-da-da. See, this is what's going to happen, right? So nobody gets together, nobody breeds, nobody, flourishes and multiplies and all of that. So I wanted to come to this conversation, have you input down below, what have you awakened to with all of this stuff? What are the things that strikes you as odd when it comes to the problems between men and women? I've done several videos about this, and I found it so sad that men don't even want to approach women anymore. They don't even bother. So this is not normal. This is not the way it's supposed to be. And my lighting is changing, so forgive me. But I wanted to come on here and really kind of open up the conversation more. I have other videos on this exact topic. I'm going to be doing more because my goal is to have men and women getting along. Hold on a second. This lighting is a disaster. I'm so sorry. Let me just switch this. Let's switch this around. Wow. Woo, the sun has shifted. But it's like super, super important that we understand the root of all of this. Where is all of this coming from? Who is orchestrating it? Who's pulling the strings? Where's the money coming from, right? Somebody's getting rich off of the divide between women and men. So when you start to approach your life from a place of curiosity, start asking the bigger questions, right? It took me years to realize this is a game. I'm in a matrix. I'm in a matrix of wake up, go to work, come home, zone out in front of the TV, go to sleep, wake up, work. It was hamster wheel existence, and it's not fulfilling. But what it is filling are the pockets of all the evil overlords in the shadows who look down at this slave society and saying, yay, good slave, give me more tax money, give me your tax money. What if instead of giving into the system and deciding not to be a mom, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be a mother, and that means I'm going to figure out a way to work from home after my baby is of a certain age, and I'll figure it out. And that would have empowered my then ex-husband to get creative with how he would make a living and earn a living and take a leadership position in our family. And then I would have looked up to him and I would have said, oh my God, you're such a good guy. Like, you provide for me and our baby. And like, the least I can do is have a house that's filled with love and peace. And so like, when you come home from work, babies are like, hey dad, and you get to play with them, and I'll go cook us dinner and you get to hang out and play with your babies and, you know, wrestle with them on the floor and just have these fun moments with them. And I'll handle feeding you guys and making sure the house is tidy and clean and the environment is nice inside the house, the vibe is high, and I feel good as a woman because I'm not like grinding it out all the time. And maybe I would have written books, maybe I would have pursued painting and art and different things that interested me. So you don't know, right? And we were all manipulated for decades to buy into this bullshit of what would make us happy. I'm sorry to say it, but I look at these women and they're grinding and they're these boss bitch women and they have no man at all. They don't seem very happy to me. Yeah, they have nice bags and nice things, but it's all about the things, and they're exhausted, depleted. Who knows the last time they've had sex? It's just not normal. It's just not natural. And so this is the time where we have such an opportunity as a species, right? As humanity, to wake up to this division and come together and start to investigate the truth. Who started the feminist movement? Look into that. I'm going to tell you straight up, look into the Rockefellers, look into it and go deep. There are books about this. There are videos about this all over YouTube, TikTok. People are diving in deep and they're sharing their information that they're finding. So this is a time to awaken. They call it the Great Awakening because people are awakening to the truth that has been hiding in plain sight. And I am very excited for what's to come, because a society that commits to their own truth, the truth inside, and then goes out and shares that truth with other people, we level up as a planet, as humanity, and we are going to amazing, amazing places. Things have been really dark for a long time, and now we are all enlightening. Hope to find you well. Comment below with your thoughts on this video, and if you'd like to work with me, you can find me at LoveQuestCoaching.com. Thanks.